"This money is fake," the maid's daughter whispered to the billionaire. And in that single breath, she tore open a secret powerful enough to destroy empires. The night was supposed to save lives. $1 million donation to the children's hospital, a miracle wrapped in velvet and applause. But in the shadows behind the stage, 12-year-old Emily Vance felt the truth slip through her fingers. "This money is fake," she whispered. One whisper that could shatter reputations, ruin her mother's job, and expose the city's most powerful man. Under the glitter of charity, something rotten was about to surface. This is the story of how a child's honesty exposed a fortune's biggest lie and changed every life it touched. And before I forget, where are you watching from today? Leave a comment below. Enjoy the story. The feel of the money was the first thing that was wrong. 12-year-old Emily Vance stood in the shadow of a velvet curtain, holding what was supposed to be a miracle. But her fingers told her it was a lie. The Grand Astoria Hotel Ballroom was a galaxy of shining lights. Hundreds of people, dressed in dark suits and sparkling gowns, filled the enormous room. Their laughter sounded like tiny bells. Waiters in stiff white jackets moved between the tables, carrying trays of champagne. This was a world Emily Vance knew only from the edges. She was backstage, in the dark, crowded space behind the stage. Here, there was no glamour. There was only a maze of thick black cables, rolling metal carts, and busy people speaking into headsets. Emily stood by a stack of boxes, carefully folding linen napkins. Her blonde ponytail swished back and forth with each precise, practiced movement. She was here to help her mother. Her mother, Sarah Vance, rushed past. Her face was damp with work and worry. Sarah was the head housekeeper for the hotel's grand events. Tonight was the most important night of the year. It was the annual Miracle Maker Gala for the City Children's Hospital. "Emily, you stay right here," Sarah whispered. She did not stop moving. "Do not touch anything unless you are told. Do not speak to anyone. We are lucky to have this job. Please, be invisible." Emily nodded. "Yes, Mama." She knew the rules. Be quiet. Be good. Be invisible. Her mother worked hard, harder than anyone Emily knew. This job paid for their small apartment and their food. Emily would never do anything to cause trouble. Through a small gap in the heavy velvet curtain, Emily could see the man everyone was here for. Mr. Arthur Pendleton. He was tall, with a thick mane of silver hair. His smile was bright and perfect, flashing again and again for the news cameras. Mr. Pendleton was a billionaire. He owned skyscrapers, a television station, and, as Emily's mother said, probably half the city. Tonight, he was the guest of honor. He was giving the hospital $1 million. The crowd adored him. They clapped every time his name was spoken. Suddenly, a man with a clipboard and a frantic look in his eyes burst backstage. This was Mr. Harrison, the event coordinator. He was known for yelling, "Where is the donation?" He snapped to a young woman holding a headset. "The presentation is in 5 minutes." 5. His eyes scanned the shadows and landed on Emily. "You, girl, Sarah's girl, don't just stand there." He pointed to a large, polished mahogany box on a special velvet cart. "That is Mr. Pendleton's donation. The key is in the lock. I need you to open it. Make sure the contents are arranged neatly for the photograph. Then, carefully, will it to the stage entrance." He glared at her. "Do not drop it. Do not smudge it. Just make it perfect." Emily's heart gave a single, hard thump. This was the most important job of the night. Mr. Harrison was trusting her. She walked over to the cart. The box was beautiful. It was dark, rich wood that shined under the dim lights. It smelled like leather and old, important books. It reminded her of a small, simple box her grandfather used to keep. Sergeant Michael "Iron Mike" Vance. He had been a soldier, a war veteran. He never had any money, but his wooden box was his treasure. It held his 2 medals and a faded photograph of his unit. "Integrity, Em," he used to tell her, his voice rough but kind. "It's the one thing people can't take from you. It's what you do when nobody is watching." Emily missed him every day. She took a deep breath, picturing his steady, honest face. She would do this job perfectly. For him. And for her mother. Her small fingers found the tiny silver key. She turned it. The lock clicked softly. The heavy lid opened with a quiet whoosh. Inside, Emily caught her breath. She had never seen so much money. It was stacked in perfect, tight bundles. Each bundle was held by a paper band. The bills on top, All had the same face, Mr. Benjamin Franklin. Hundreds, thousands of them. $1 million. This money was for the hospital. It would buy machines for babies who couldn't breathe. It would help children who were very sick. It was a miracle in a box. Mr. Harrison wanted it neat for the photo. One of the bundles was slightly crooked. Emily reached in to straighten it. The moment her fingertips touched the paper, she froze. It felt wrong. It was smooth. Too smooth. It felt flat, like the glossy paper from her school's color printer. It didn't have the special, slightly rough, crisp feel of real money. Emily's hand began to tremble. This could not be. This was Mr. Pendleton. This was the Miracle Maker Gala. She looked around. Mr. Harrison was yelling at a waiter across the room. Her mother was fixing a tablecloth on the far side of the ballroom. No one was watching. It's what you do when nobody is watching, her grandfather's voice echoed in her mind. Quickly, Emily reached into the pocket of her simple blue dress. She pulled out a single $5 bill. Her mother had given it to her that morning for helping with the laundry. She hid the bill in her palm, her back to the room. She looked down at her real, worn $5 bill. She looked at the shiny $100 bills in the box. The color was wrong. The ink on Mr. Pendleton's money looked too bright. The portrait of Benjamin Franklin looked blurry, not sharp, like the face on her $5 bill. She looked closer. The tiny blue security strip. On her $5, she could see it was inside the paper. On the $100 bills, it looked like it was just a shiny line printed on the paper. A cold, terrible dread settled in Emily's stomach. It was fake. It was all fake. Bundles and bundles of fake money. This wasn't a miracle. It was a lie. She heard the announcer on the stage. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. The director of City Children's Hospital, Dr. Eleanor Bishop. Emily watched through the curtain as a kind-looking woman with gray hair walked to the microphone. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Bishop said, her voice warm. Tonight, our hospital family we are overwhelmed. We have 200 children in our care tonight. Children like little Leo, in our cardiac unit. Leo needs a new heart monitoring machine. A machine that this generosity will. Dr. Bishop's voice broke with emotion. Emily felt sick. That machine would not be bought. That money was just paper. What could she do? She thought of her mother. Don't cause trouble, Emily. Be invisible. If she said something, if she, a 12-year-old girl, accused the most powerful man in the city, she would not just be in trouble. Her mother would be fired. They would lose their home. But if she said nothing? She pictured little Leo. She pictured her grandfather, his eyes full of disappointment. Courage isn't about being brave when it's easy, kiddo, he'd told her once. It's about being brave when your knees are knocking and you're scared to death. That's when it counts. Her knees were knocking. She was terrified. She closed the box. The heavy lid shut with a final, solid thud. Her decision was made. She put her small hands on the handle of the velvet cart and began to push it toward the stage entrance. It was heavy, but her arms felt strong. Mr. Harrison saw her and rushed over, his face red and sweaty. Good. You're not totally useless, he hissed. Now give it to me, and go back to the napkins. The stagehands will take it from here. I need to see Mr. Pendleton, Emily said. Her voice was a tiny squeak. Mr. Harrison stopped. He actually laughed. It was a short, ugly sound. What? Are you deaf, girl? He's about to go on stage. Get out of the way. He put his hand on the cart to push her aside. Emily did not move. She put her own small hand right on the mahogany box. No, she said. This time, her voice was not a squeak. It was quiet, but it was clear. I have to give this to him. Personally. Mr. Harrison's face turned a dark, blotchy red. You insolent little brat. Who do you think you are? You are the maid's daughter. You will be fired for this. Your mother will be. Is there a problem here? The voice was deep, smooth, and full of power. It cut through Mr. Harrison's angry words like a knife. Arthur Pendleton stood right behind them. He was adjusting the cuffs of his perfect black tuxedo. The stage lights behind him made his silver hair glow like a halo. The cameras were pointed at the stage, not at him. His famous, bright smile was gone. His face was cold and impatient. Mr. Harrison began to sputter. Mr. Pendleton. Sir, I am so sorry. This girl, she is just the help. She's confused. She won't let go of the donation. Mr. Pendleton looked down at Emily. His eyes were the color of a frozen lake. They were not kind. What is this, child? He asked. His voice was tired. as if she were a piece of dust on his suit. I am very busy. Emily's heart felt like it would hammer its way out of her chest. She could feel Mr. Harrison's angry breathing next to her. She could hear the hospital director on stage, finishing her speech. She looked up at the richest, most powerful man in the city. She leaned in close, so only he and Mr. Harrison could hear. "Mr. Pendleton," she whispered, her voice shaking but clear. "This money, the money in the box." She took one last, shuddering breath. "This money is fake." For a single, frozen second, the world stopped. The booming voice of the announcer, the clinking of glasses, the distant music, it all faded. There was only the cavernous backstage, the smell of dust and electrical wiring, and the two most powerful men in the room staring at a 12-year-old girl. Mr. Harrison's face, which had been red, turned a chalky, sick white. What did you say?" he whispered. His whisper was more frightening than his yell. Arthur Pendleton did not move. He simply watched Emily. His eyes were not angry. They were sharp. They were the eyes of a man listening to a stock report, analyzing data. Emily's body was shaking so hard she could feel her teeth chatter. She thought she might faint. She thought of her mother, alone and working, and how this one moment would destroy her. You are insane," Mr. Harrison finally stammered. He took a step toward Emily, his hand raised as if to grab her arm. "You apologize to Mr. Pendleton right now. You apologize for this filth. Stop." It was one word. Mr. Pendleton said it without raising his voice. Mr. Harrison froze instantly, his hand still in the air. Mr. Pendleton lowered his gaze from Emily to the polished mahogany box. The box that held $1 million lie. He did not open it. He looked back at Emily. His voice was quiet, cold, and deadly serious. "How do you know?" Mr. Harrison let out a choked sound. "Sir, please, she is a child. She is a maid's daughter. She's lying. She's trying to get attention. She doesn't look like she wants attention, Mr. Harrison," Pendleton said, his eyes never leaving Emily. "She looks terrified. Terrified people often tell the truth." He crouched down. It was a small movement, but it was shocking. The billionaire, in his $10,000 tuxedo, was suddenly on her level. He was no longer a giant. He was just a man with silver hair and very old, very tired eyes. "How?" he repeated. "Do you know?" Emily's throat was dry. She thought of her grandfather. "Courage, Em. When your knees are knocking." She swallowed. "The paper, sir. It's wrong." "Wrong how?" It's smooth. Like from a printer at my school. It's not crisp." Mr. Pendleton's face remained a mask. He was impossible to read. "She thinks the paper feels wrong," he said, almost to himself. And Emily's voice was trembling, but she pushed on. "The security strip. The little blue line." She fumbled in her pocket and pulled out her crumpled $5 bill. Her hand was shaking so badly she could barely hold it out. "Here," she whispered. "On this one, the strip is inside the paper. You can see it. On yours, on the ones in the box, it's just shiny. It's printed on top." She pointed to the box. I looked. "It's wrong." Mr. Harrison looked like he was going to be sick. "Sir, this is a waste of your time." "The Gala." Mr. Pendleton ignored him. He looked at Emily's small, worn $5 bill. He looked at her honest, terrified, tear-filled eyes. Then he stood up. He reached into his own tuxedo pants. He pulled out a sleek, black money clip. From it, he slipped a single, perfect $100 bill. He held it in his fingertips. Then, with his other hand, he reached for the mahogany box. He did not ask for the key. He simply put his hand on the lid. Mr. Harrison made a small gasping sound. "Sir, the presentation." Mr. Pendleton lifted the heavy lid. The money inside was perfect. It was a beautiful, impressive sight. Mr. Pendleton placed his own, real $100 bill next to the top bundle in the box. He did not need to touch it. He did not need to compare. The color of his bill was a fraction different. The portrait was sharper. The security strip was woven, just as Emily had said. The money in the box was fake. Every single bundle. "Oh my God," Mr. Harrison breathed. He backed away, putting a hand on a metal cart to steady himself. "Sir, I did not know. I swear. I had no idea." "Of course you didn't," Pendleton said. His voice was flat. "You don't know anything." He shut the lid. The thud was final. For a long moment, he stood there, his hand on the box. Emily could see the gears turning in his head. He was not a man who panicked. He was a man who solved problems. From the stage, the announcer's voice boomed. And now, the man who is making this all possible, the man with the biggest heart in our great city. Please welcome, Mr. Arthur Pendleton. The ballroom exploded in applause. The sound was deafening. Music began to swell. Mr. Harrison looked at the stage, then at Mr. Pendleton, his eyes wide with panic. Sir, what are we going to do? What do I tell them? You have to go on. Mr. Pendleton straightened his tie. He turned his cuffs. He looked at the stage, and the famous, warm, camera-ready smile appeared on his face. It was like turning on a light. You will do nothing, Mr. Harrison, he said, his voice now light and cheerful, though his eyes were still like ice. You will proceed exactly as planned. Emily stared at him in horror. Sir, Mr. Harrison stammered. The stagehands, Mr. Pendleton said, pointing. Have them will the donation out. We will do the presentation. We will take the photographs. We will thank Dr. Bishop. And you, he turned his head, his smile still locked in place, will not say one single word. He couldn't. He wouldn't. He was going to use the fake money. He was going to lie to the hospital director. He was going to lie to everyone. Emily felt a cold sickness wash over her. Her grandfather's integrity, this man had none. He was a fraud. Mr. Pendleton started to walk toward the stage. No, Emily whispered. He stopped. He turned. His smile was gone. What did you say to me, child? You can't, Emily said, her voice shaking but finding a new strength. It was the strength of her grandfather. That's lying. Those children, Dr. Bishop, she thinks she's getting machines for little Leo. Mr. Pendleton walked back to her. He was the giant again. Listen to me very carefully, child. That hospital will get its money. It will get its machines. But right now, there are 500 people in that room. There are news cameras. If this, he tapped the box, becomes a story, the story isn't the hospital gets its money. The story is Arthur Pendleton's Gala is a fraud. And the hospital gets nothing but embarrassment. Do you understand? Emily didn't. It felt wrong. It felt like a deep, terrible cheat. Your name, he demanded. What is it? Emily. Emily Vance. Well, Emily Vance, you have two choices. You can stand here, be silent for 5 minutes, and let me fix this. Or you can make a scene, destroy this event, and personally see to it that your mother never works in this city again. He looked at Mr. Harrison. Not a word. He looked at Emily. You, do not move from this spot. When I am done, you and I are going to have a talk. He turned, his smile instantly reappearing. He walked into the blinding lights of the stage. The applause was like thunder. Thank you. Thank you. His voice boomed over the speakers. Dr. Bishop, what a wonderful evening. Emily stood in the shadows, her body rigid. She watched the man she had tried to help. He was a magnificent liar. He was warm. He was funny. He praised the hospital staff. Mr. Harrison, still pale, gestured frantically to the stagehands. The box. Take the box. 2 men in black shirts pushed the velvet card onto the center of the stage. They placed it right between Mr. Pendleton and the smiling, hopeful Dr. Bishop. Mr. Pendleton, Dr. Bishop said, her voice thick with emotion. I simply have no words. Your generosity, it is a lifeline. The pleasure is all mine, Dr. Pendleton said. Let's show everyone what a miracle looks like, shall we? Together, they opened the box. The cameras surged forward. Their flashes were like tiny explosions, one after another. Flash, flash, flash. Mr. Pendleton reached in and picked up 2 of the fake bundles. He held them up high, grinning as he handed one to Dr. Bishop. She held it to her chest, tears streaming down her face. Emily felt her own tears, hot and angry. She was part of the lie. He had used her silence to trick that nice woman. She felt a hand on her arm. She jumped. It was her mother. Emily, what are you doing? Sarah Vance's face was creased with worry. She had seen Emily standing alone, staring at the stage, pale as a ghost. You look sick. What happened? What did you do? Emily looked at her mother's tired, frightened face. She looked at the stage, where Mr. Pendleton was shaking hands, a hero. She was trapped. She couldn't tell her mother. She would lose her job. She couldn't tell anyone. Nothing, Mama, Emily whispered, her voice breaking. I just feel dizzy. It's hot back here. Oh, sweetie, Sarah said, her voice softening. She put a cool hand on Emily's forehead. You just sit down for a minute. Right here. I'll get you some water. This night is almost over. but Emily knew it wasn't. The applause finally faded. Mr. Pendleton shook a few more hands, waved to the crowd, and walked off the stage. The smile vanished. His face was a mask of cold fury. He ignored the people trying to congratulate him. He ignored Mr. Harrison. He walked straight through the dark, cluttered backstage. He walked directly to Emily and her mother. Sarah's eyes went wide. She quickly tried to stand in front of Emily. "Mr. Pendleton, sir. I'm so sorry if she was in the way. She's a good girl. She was just—" "Mrs. Vance," he said, cutting her off. His voice was not unkind, but it was absolute. "Your daughter is remarkable. She has brought a very serious matter to my attention." Sarah's face lost all its color. "A matter, sir?" "Yes, a private business matter. I need to speak with her immediately." "Sir, she's only 12. Whatever she did, I'm sure she didn't mean—" "She did nothing wrong," Mr. Pendleton said. "She did everything right. I need her help." He looked past them. A very large man in a dark suit had appeared silently from the shadows. He had an earpiece and a face that looked like it was carved from stone. This was Mr. Graves, the head of security. "Graves," Pendleton said, "take the box from the stage. Dr. Bishop is not to touch it. Tell her my team is securing it for the transfer. Bring it, and the girl, and her mother, to the penthouse suite. Now, use the private elevator." "Sir," Sarah whispered, grabbing Emily's hand. "The penthouse. I don't understand." Mr. Pendleton looked down at her. "Mrs. Vance, your daughter just saved me from making the biggest mistake of my career. Now, please, come with me. We have $1 million problem to solve, and I think your daughter is the only one in this entire building who knows how to fix it." The private elevator was not like the service elevators Emily and her mother used. Those were metal boxes that smelled of cleaning solution and old food. This elevator was a room. The walls were covered in dark, polished wood, the same as the donation box. A small, upholstered bench sat against one wall. The light was soft and golden. It was completely silent. The whoosh of the gala, the music, the voices, the clatter of plates, was gone. It was just the four of them, rising silently through the heart of the hotel. Mr. Graves, the security man, stood by the doors. He held the mahogany box in one hand, as if it weighed nothing. His eyes were fixed on the polished metal door. Sarah Vance stood pressed against the back wall, holding Emily's hand in a grip so tight it hurt. Her breathing was shallow. She kept glancing at Mr. Pendleton, then at the floor, as if looking at him directly was forbidden. Emily stood beside her. She watched Mr. Pendleton. He was not looking at any of them. He was staring past Mr. Graves, at his own faint reflection in the elevator door. He was perfectly still, but Emily could almost feel the energy coming from him. It was like a machine, humming with power and thought. He was not angry. He was calculating. He was a man who had just found a snake in his house, and he was deciding exactly how to kill it. Emily's fear was still there, a cold knot in her stomach. But beneath it, a new feeling was stirring. Curiosity. He had lied to everyone, but he had told her she did nothing wrong. She did everything right. He had seen the same fake money she had. He had seen her grandfather's integrity in her, even for a second. But he had used the lie anyway. He had smiled for the cameras and handed that bundle of fake paper to Dr. Bishop. Why? The elevator slowed with a gentle sigh. The door slid open. Emily gasped. It was not a hotel room. It was a palace in the sky. The penthouse was one enormous room, with windows that wrapped around 2 entire walls. The city lights glittered below them, a carpet of diamonds stretching to the dark horizon. The furniture was sleek and modern, in colors of white and gray. There was a grand piano in one corner and a swirling glass staircase in another. The room was so quiet. Emily could hear the sound of the air moving through the vents. "Graves," Mr. Pendleton said. His voice was no longer the booming, public voice from the stage. It was sharp. "Put the box on the main table. Get Mr. Harrison up here. Tell him to use the service stairs and to speak to no one. If his phone rings, you take it." "Yes, sir." Mr. Graves set the box on a long glass table, then moved silently to a phone in the corner, his voice a low murmur. Mr. Pendleton unbuttoned his tuxedo jacket. He walked to a large, dark bar and poured himself a glass of water from a crystal pitcher. He did not offer them any. He turned to face them. Sarah and Emily were still standing by the elevator, afraid to step onto the thick white carpet. "Mrs. Vance," he said. "Sir." Sarah's voice was a whisper. Please, sit down. He gestured to a large white sofa. You and your daughter. You are not in trouble. Sarah moved slowly, perched on the absolute edge of the cushion, pulling Emily down with her. She still had not let go of her daughter's hand. Mr. Pendleton looked at Emily. He studied her, as if she were a difficult puzzle he was trying to solve. Emily Vance, he said, you have a grandfather, doesn't he? Didn't he serve in the military? Emily's head snapped up. How could he know that? Yes, sir. He was a sergeant. Sergeant Michael Vance. Iron Mike. He passed away. Mr. Pendleton nodded slowly. I thought so. I knew a Mike Vance in my first company, long before all this. He waved a hand at the glittering penthouse. He was a good man. The only honest man in a room full of thieves. He used to say, integrity is what you do when nobody is watching. Emily finished, her voice soft. A flicker of something, surprise, sadness, crossed Mr. Pendleton's face. It was gone in an instant. He told you that, did he? He took a sip of water. Well, Emily, you did him proud tonight. You have more integrity in your little finger than my entire staff has in their whole bodies. Sarah Vance let out a small, confused sound. Sir, I don't understand. The money. The money, Mrs. Vance, was counterfeit, Mr. Pendleton said. Every last bill. It was a complete, professional fake. A very, very good fake. Good enough to fool anyone who wasn't looking. Good enough to fool anyone who. He looked at Emily, wasn't touching it with honest hands. But who? Sarah whispered. What? That, Mr. Pendleton said, is the million-dollar question. He began to pace, his expensive shoes silent on the thick rug. This was not a simple theft, Mrs. Vance. This was an attack. This was sabotage. He stopped and looked at them, his eyes dark. I have rivals. Men who would like to see me fail. Men who would love to see a headline tomorrow. Arthur Pendleton's million-dollar donation is fake. It would ruin my reputation. It would destroy the hospital's gala. It would make me a laughingstock. He pointed a long finger at Emily. Your daughter stopped that from happening. She came to me. She did not run to a security guard. She did not yell and make a scene. She was terrified, but she was brave. She brought the problem to the one person who could fix it. But on stage, Emily said, finding her voice. You gave it to her. You lied to Dr. Bishop. You held up the fake money. Mr. Pendleton nodded, his face grim. Yes, I did. He walked to the window and looked down at the city lights. Emily, in my world, perception is reality. The fact is that the hospital will get its money. I will write a personal check from my own account for $2 million, and it will be delivered by armed guard to Dr. Bishop's office tomorrow morning. Sarah gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. That is the fact, Mr. Pendleton continued, turning back to them. But the perception, the story, is what matters tonight. If I had stopped the gala, if I had announced a delay, if I had done anything other than what I did, the story would be the donation is missing. Or Pendleton's gala in chaos. The cameras were rolling. The crowd was waiting. The only move I had, the only move, was to play the hand I was dealt. He sat down in a large chair opposite them. I had to protect the hospital. I had to protect the event. And I had to protect the investigation. Investigation? Emily asked. Yes. The person who did this, the person who switched my real donation with that box of paper, is still in this hotel. A cold chill ran down Emily's spine. They are probably in that ballroom right now, Mr. Pendleton said, his voice dropping. Laughing. Waiting for the news to break. Waiting for a phone call from a bank, or the police, telling them the money is fake. Waiting for my ruin. He leaned forward. But they won't get that call. Because of you. Emily, no one knows. No one but us. There was a sharp knock on the service door. Mr. Graves opened it. Mr. Harrison stumbled in. He was sweating more than ever. His tie was loose, and his hair was stuck to his forehead. Sir, he gasped, sir, I kept everyone away from the stage. The box it's here. I don't know what happened. Sit down, Mr. Harrison, Pendleton commanded. And shut up. Mr. Harrison fell into a chair, looking at Emily and Sarah with pure confusion. Mrs. Vance, what are they doing here? They are here, Mr. Pendleton said, because this 12-year-old girl has more sense than you. She is the one who found your catastrophic mistake. Sir, I swear I never. I said shut up. Mr. Pendleton's voice was like a whip. Mr. Harrison flinched and fell silent. Mr. Pendleton turned his full attention back to Emily. His anger was gone. He was focused. Emily, I need you to think. Very, very carefully. From the moment you were given the job to the moment you opened that box. Who did you see? Emily's heart was pounding. This was a police show. This was real. I was at the curtain, she said, her voice small. Folding napkins. And Mr. Harrison told you to get the box? Yes, sir. He was yelling. He said, make sure the contents are arranged neatly for the photograph. Mr. Pendleton's eyes narrowed. He shot a look at Mr. Harrison. You told her to open the box? Mr. Harrison sank lower in his chair. For the press, sir. To make sure it looked good. I didn't think. You never think, Pendleton snapped. Go on, Emily. So, I went to the cart, Emily said, closing her eyes, trying to remember. The box was there, on the velvet cart. The key was in the lock. Was anyone else near it? Pendleton asked. No, sir. Not right then. It was just by the sound equipment. A stack of black boxes and wires. And you opened it. Yes. And it looked wrong. You mean it felt wrong? Pendleton corrected. No, sir, Emily said. It looked wrong first. Just for a second. Mr. Pendleton leaned in. What do you mean? The bundles, Emily said, trying to find the words. They were stacked perfectly. But one was crooked. On the top layer. That's why I reached in. To fix it. That's when I touched it. Mr. Pendleton stared at her. One bundle was crooked. Yes, sir. Just a little. Mr. Pendleton stood up. He walked to the mahogany box on the glass table. Mr. Graves stood beside him. Open it, Pendleton said. Mr. Graves used the small silver key. The lid opened. Mr. Pendleton looked inside. He said nothing. He simply reached in and pushed, very gently, on the bundle in the back left corner. It was loose. He lifted it out. Beneath it, taped to the velvet lining of the box, was a small, black electronic device. It had a tiny, blinking red light. Emily gasped. Mr. Harrison made a sound like he was choking. Mr. Graves did not move, but his eyes were fixed on the device. Sir, that looks like a GPS tracker, and possibly a microphone. Mr. Pendleton looked at the device. He looked at Mr. Harrison. He looked at Emily. The crooked bundle, Mr. Pendleton said, his voice full of a new, cold understanding. Whoever put this here, they didn't have time to straighten it. They were in a hurry. They were interrupted. He looked at Emily. They were interrupted by you. The blood drained from Emily's face. The person they were there? They must have been, Pendleton said. Moments before Mr. Harrison sent you to the box. They switched the real box for this one. They planted this device. And they made a mistake. They left one bundle crooked. He turned on Mr. Harrison, his voice a low, terrifying growl. Who else had access to that box? No one. Mr. Harrison squeaked. Only me. And your personal assistant, Mr. Thorne. He delivered the box from your car. He and I put it on the cart together, just before the guests arrived. But, Mr. Thorne? He's been with you for 20 years. It couldn't be. Thorne, Mr. Pendleton said, his face as hard as granite. Get Thorne. Sir, he said he was feeling ill. He left right after the cocktail hour. He said he was going home. Mr. Harrison stammered. He's not ill, you fool, Mr. Pendleton said. He's running. Mr. Pendleton turned to his security guard. Graves, find Thorne. Lock down this hotel. I want his apartment, his car, his bank accounts, everything. Find him. Now. Mr. Graves nodded, pulled out his phone, and began walking to the other side of the room, speaking in quiet, rapid commands. Mr. Pendleton stood over the open box, staring at the fake money and the small, blinking light. He was silent for a full minute. Emily watched him. She could see the muscles in his jaw working. He was betrayed. The man who had been with him for 20 years. Then, he did something she never expected. He reached in and took out a single bundle of the fake money. He turned it over in his hands. And he laughed. It was not a happy laugh. It was a short, sharp, bitter sound. 20 years, he said to himself. 20 years, and he gets sloppy because of a 12-year-old girl. He looked up, and his cold, calculating eyes met Emily's. Emily Vance. Your mother is right. You are a good girl. You are also smart. And you are, as of this moment, the only person in this building I know I can trust. He tossed the bundle of fake money back into the box. Which is why, he said, You and your mother are not going home. Sarah stood up, her fear returning. Sir? Not going, but we have to. Mrs. Vance, the man who did this is a traitor. He knows Mr. Harrison. He has probably seen your daughter backstage. He may even know she was the one who was sent to the box. Until I have him in custody, you and your daughter are the only witnesses I have. You are a liability. A liability? Sarah whispered, her face pale. He means, Emily said, her voice shaking, we're in danger. Precisely, Mr. Pendleton said. Mr. Thorne is not a stupid man. He is a very, very dangerous man. And he has just lost $1 million and his entire future. He will be desperate. He looked at Sarah. You will not be fired, Mrs. Vance. As of tomorrow, you are the new head of hospitality for my entire hotel chain. Your salary is quadrupled. You will answer directly to me. Sarah collapsed back onto the sofa. She couldn't speak. And you, he said to Emily, will not be going back to your old school. You will be attending the Pendleton Academy, the best private school in this state. Full scholarship. Starting Monday. Emily stared at him. The Pendleton Academy? But that's it's for smart people, Mr. Pendleton said. And I need you to get smarter. I need that mind of yours, the one that sees things other people miss. The one that sees the crooked bundle in a box of lies. My grandfather always said, keep the honest ones close. Your grandfather, Sergeant Mike Vance, would agree. He looked at Mr. Graves, who was just getting off the phone. Well, Mr. Graves' face was grim. Thorne's car is gone from the garage. His apartment is empty. He's in the wind, sir. But we found something. In the employee locker room. Hidden in Harrison's locker. Mr. Harrison shot up. My locker? I didn't. We found, Mr. Graves said, holding up a small plastic bag, this. It was a single, crumpled $5 bill. Mr. Harrison's face turned a shade of gray that Emily had never seen before. My locker? He stammered, looking at the plastic bag Mr. Graves was holding. That's not. I've never. What is that? It's a $5 bill, Mr. Harrison, Mr. Pendleton said, his voice dangerously quiet. Found tucked inside the pocket of your spare jacket. In your locker, where you presumably put it for safekeeping. I don't know what you're talking about. Harrison insisted, his voice rising in panic. I didn't. It's not mine. I'm being framed. It was Thorne. It must have been Thorne. He has a key to my locker. Mr. Pendleton looked at Mr. Graves. Graves simply stared at Harrison, his expression unreadable. Emily had been silent, holding her mother's hand. But she couldn't take her eyes off the bag. There was something familiar. Mr. Pendleton, Emily said, her voice small. Pendleton's attention snapped to her. His anger seemed to vanish, replaced by focus. Yes, Emily? Can I see the $5 bill? Closer. Mr. Graves looked at Mr. Pendleton, who gave a single, sharp nod. Mr. Graves moved closer. He held the bag under the bright light of a desk lamp. Emily let go of her mother's hand and stepped forward. She squinted at the crumpled bill. It was folded, but on the top right corner, near the number 5, there was a tiny, dark speck. A speck of ink. It was from a blue pen that had leaked in her pocket 2 days ago. She knew that stain. She had been sad about it, thinking her mother would be upset about the pocket. Emily, Sarah asked, her voice trembling. That's my $5 bill, Emily whispered. She pointed. It's my money. The money Mama gave me for the laundry. See, that's the ink spot. The room fell silent. Sarah, Mr. Harrison, and Mr. Pendleton all stared at her. Emily, are you certain? Mr. Pendleton asked. Yes, sir. I had it in my pocket. I pulled it out when I was looking at the box. To compare. To see what real money looked like. Mr. Pendleton's eyes narrowed. Think, Emily. When did it leave your possession? Emily squeezed her eyes shut, trying to replay the last hour. I had it in my hand. When I was talking to you. Right before you went on stage. She looked at the floor. I was shaking. I must have dropped it. When you walked away, when my mother came. I just forgot about it. Mr. Pendleton turned his gaze back to Harrison. It was not a forgiving look. She dropped it, he said. Mr. Harrison's face suddenly crumpled. Yes, she did. I saw it. After Mr. Graves took her and her mother to the elevator. I saw it on the floor. A $5 bill. And you decided to put it in your locker? Mr. Pendleton asked. I didn't know what to do. Harrison wailed, tears of fear and frustration streaming down his face. I was terrified. You were gone. The girl was gone. The fake money was on stage. I thought it was evidence. Or a trick. I didn't know what was happening. I picked it up. I shoved it in my pocket. I was scared. I just wanted it to go away. His story was frantic, illogical, and cowardly. Emily realized the complete truth. Mr. Pendleton sighed. He looked disgusted. Mr. Graves, he's not a conspirator. He's a fool. But, sir, Graves said, his voice low, Thorne would not have acted alone. He needed inside help. He needed access to the ballroom. He needed to coordinate the switch. If not Harrison. No, he used him, Pendleton said. He turned back to Harrison, who was now weeping into his hands. Mr. Harrison, Thorne did speak to you, didn't he? Harrison looked up, his face a mess. How did you know? Thorne couldn't have just hoped some random person would find the fake money, Pendleton said. He would have a plan. He needed someone to check the box. But he needed that person to be pliable. Someone who wouldn't sound the alarm. He took a step closer to the event manager. He picked you. And you picked Emily. What? Harrison broke. It was a test, he sobbed. A security test. That's what he told me. Pendleton and Graves exchanged a look. Mr. Thorne. He came to me this morning, Harrison explained, words tumbling out. He said you were worried about the Gala security. He said you wanted to run a drill. A social test, he called it. He said you were putting test money in the donation box. He said the real money was already safe at the hospital. He told you that? Pendleton asked, his voice flat. Yes. He's Mr. Thorne. He gives your orders. I believed him. He said my job, my only job, was to have someone check the box. Someone simple. Someone low-level. Those were his words. To see if they would spot the fakes. He said you'd give a bonus to the person if they reported it. I was busy. The girl, Emily, she was just standing there. She was perfect. Low-level. I told her to check it. I thought she'd just straighten the bundles and close it. I thought she'd fail the test. Harrison's voice cracked. And then, when she did spot it, when she came to you, I thought I had failed. I thought you would fire me for picking someone who was too smart. I didn't know it was real. I swear, Mr. Pendleton. I swear on my mother's life. I thought it was a test. The confession hung in the air, pathetic and complete. Mr. Pendleton stared at Harrison for a long time. There was no anger left. Only a profound, icy disappointment. Mr. Thorne, Pendleton said, was my assistant for 20 years. He knew you. He knew your greed. He knew your incompetence. And he used you perfectly. He turned to his security chief. Mr. Graves, take Mr. Harrison to the security office. Give him a bottle of water and a guard. He is not to speak to anyone. He is not a criminal. He is a material witness. And an idiot. Get him out of my sight. Yes, sir. Mr. Graves grabbed Mr. Harrison by the arm. Sir, please. I'm sorry, Harrison cried, as he was hauled out of the room. I didn't know. The door clicked shut. The penthouse was silent again. It was just Arthur Pendleton, Sarah, and Emily. Mr. Pendleton walked to the great window and looked down at the city. He seemed very tired, and for the first time, very old. 20 years, he said, mostly to himself. He was like a son to me. Sarah, who had been frozen in fear, found her voice. It was the voice of a mother. Mr. Pendleton, she said, standing up. Sir, this Mr. Thorne, you said he's dangerous. You said he knows Emily was the one. What happens to my daughter? Pendleton turned from the window. The weariness was gone. His face was hard again. He's not a son, he said, his voice like iron. He is a traitor. And he is a fool, just like Harrison. A fool? Emily asked. But he stole $1 million. He tried, Mr. Pendleton said. But he failed. He failed because he got sloppy. He failed because he underestimated the low-level people he's looked down on his entire life. He failed because of you, Emily. He pointed to the mahogany box on the table. That tracker. That microphone. Thorne put it there because he's arrogant. He didn't just want to steal the money. He wanted to watch. He wanted to hear the panic when the fake money was found. He wanted to hear me, on stage, humiliated. Emily's blood ran cold. He was listening? Yes, Pendleton said. He was listening when Mr. Graves and my men were moving the box. He was listening when we got in the elevator. And he was listening, right here in this room, when I told your mother I was giving the hospital $2 million to make up for it." Sarah gasped. "He heard you." "He heard me," Pendleton said. "And he got greedy." "Mr. Graves." Mr. Graves stepped back into the room. "Sir, we have a problem. Dr. Bishop. She's in the ballroom. She's telling the press about your spontaneous and incredible $2 million donation." Pendleton nodded. "Let me guess. Thorne called her." "Anonymously," Graves confirmed. "From a burner phone. He told her assistant that you were so moved by the evening, you had decided to double your pledge." The press corps went wild. Your own PR team, not knowing what to do, confirmed the story. "It's on the news. Right now." Mr. Pendleton almost smiled. It was a terrible sight. "He's bold. I'll give him that. He's not just stealing my million. He's forcing me to give away 2 more. He thinks he's bleeding me dry, all while I'm forced to smile and look like a hero. He's using my own reputation against me." "But you are giving the 2 million, Emily said. "You promised." "Yes, Emily. I am," Pendleton said. "That part is true. What Thorne doesn't know is that I was always going to. The 2 million is for the hospital. But the 1 million he stole, that is mine. And I am getting it back." He looked at Graves. "The burner phone. Did you trace it?" "Yes, sir. It pinged a cell tower 3 blocks from here. An apartment building. He's close. He's watching us." "Good," Pendleton said. "He's close. He thinks he's in control. He thinks he's listening to this box." He walked over to the box and tapped the lid. "But the joke is on him." Mr. Graves put this entire box in a signal-blocking evidence bag the moment we got to the elevator. He's been listening to absolute silence for the last 20 minutes. He's nervous. He's wondering why his expensive toy isn't working. He's wondering why the police haven't swarmed the hotel. He's wondering what went wrong. Mr. Pendleton looked at Emily. The calculating look was back. He's a traitor, and he's a thief. But he's not stupid. He has my $1 million in cash. He has to move it. He has to clean it. He can't do that alone. He had Harrison. Now he has no one. He'll be desperate, Sarah whispered, pulling Emily close. "Exactly," Pendleton said. "And desperate men make mistakes. He already made one. He left a bundle crooked. He didn't count on the maid's daughter with Sergeant Mike Vance's eyes." He looked at Sarah, his voice firm. "Mrs. Vance, Emily, you will not be going home tonight. You will stay here, in this suite. Mr. Graves will have a team of 4 men outside that door. You will be the 2 safest people in this city." He then looked at Emily. "Thorne thinks he's invisible. He thinks he's a ghost. But you saw what he did. You're the only person who has. He's been watching me for 20 years, but you saw him." I don't understand," Emily said. "I didn't see anyone." "You saw his work," Pendleton said, tapping his temple. "In here. You see the details. The crooked bundle. The flat paper. The inky dot on a $5 bill. Thorne is a man of details, and he made a mistake. Tomorrow, we're going to catch him, and I'm going to need your help." My help?" "Yes," Mr. Pendleton said. "He's in the wind. He could be anywhere. But he has $1 million in cash. He has to get it out of the city. He'll need a new plan. He'll need a new partner. And when he makes his next move, I need someone who can spot the lie. I need someone who can see the one crooked thing in a room full of perfection." He leaned down, just as he had backstage. His eyes were not cold anymore. They were filled with a strange, fierce respect. "Thorne is smart. But you, Emily Vance, are honest. And in my experience, the honest eye always sees the truth. Now get some rest. The gala is over. The real work begins tomorrow." The penthouse was silent, high above the distant city sirens. Sarah Vance sat on the edge of the white sofa, her work uniform seeming out of place in the luxurious room. She was in shock. "Head of hospitality," she whispered, looking at her own hands, red and rough from work. "For the whole chain. Emily, I don't know how to do that job. I just fold napkins." "You'll learn, Mama," Emily said, sitting beside her. "You're the hardest worker he knows. But this..." Sarah looked around, her fear returning. "This isn't our world. We're the help. And that man, Mr. Thorne, he's out there. He knows you, Emily. He knows you're the one who found him out." Emily took her mother's hand. "Mr. Pendleton said we're safe. He said, I have Sergeant Vance's eyes." Sarah looked at her daughter, seeing the same steady, honest gaze of her father, Iron Mike. "He would be so proud of you," she said, her voice thick. "And so terrified." Later, Emily lay in a bed so large it felt like a cloud. She should have been exhausted, but she couldn't sleep. She kept seeing the crooked bundle of fake money. She kept thinking of Mr. Thorne, a man who had everything and threw it away. He got arrogant, Mr. Pendleton had said. He thought no one was watching. Emily slipped out of bed and walked to the enormous window. The city glittered below, a sea of lights. She pressed her hand to the cold glass, thinking of her grandfather's simple wooden metal box. It was worth nothing, and it was worth everything. Integrity is what you do when nobody is watching. She stood there for a long time, watching the sky turn from black to a soft, hopeful gray. The knock came at exactly 7 a.m. Mr. Pendleton entered, wearing a perfectly tailored gray suit. He looked as if he had not slept at all. Mr. Graves followed him, holding a slim laptop. "Good morning," Pendleton said. "Graves, the update." "Thorne is trapped," Mr. Graves said, his voice clipped. "He's still in the city. We've frozen his accounts. He's in the old financial district, trying to find a way out. He has $1 million in cash," Pendleton said. "He needs to clean it. He needs to buy his way out." "Exactly, sir," Graves said. "He's contacted a dealer in rare coins, Silas Vane. Thorne is trying to buy Vane's collection of 17th-century gold doubloons. The price is $1 million. He's walking into the trap. The meeting is at 10 a.m. Pendleton nodded. "Good. We will be waiting." "Sir," Graves said, "a complication. Thorne is paranoid. He knows my face and all my men's faces. If he sees anyone he recognizes, he will bolt. He'll take the money and disappear." Mr. Pendleton was silent for a moment. He looked at Mr. Graves. Then he looked at Emily. "He knows your faces, Mr. Graves, but he does not know hers." Sarah stepped forward immediately. "No, sir. Mr. Pendleton. She is a child. You cannot put her in a room with that criminal." "Mrs. Vance, I give you my word," Pendleton said, his voice firm. "She will be in no danger. She will be with me, in a reinforced back office, behind a one-way mirror. He will never see her." "Then why?" Sarah cried, pulling Emily close. "Why does she have to be there?" "Because Thorne is a snake," Mr. Pendleton said. "He betrayed me for 20 years. What if the cash he brings isn't my money? What if it's more fakes? He could be trying to con Vane, to get the gold and keep the cash. I can't take that chance." He knelt, just as he had done backstage. He spoke only to Emily. "I need your eyes, Emily. You're the only one who has seen the truth. You're the only one who can spot the lie. When he opens that case, I need you to tell me, is it my money? Or is it another crooked bundle in a box of lies?" Emily looked at her mother's terrified face. Then she looked at Mr. Pendleton, who was trusting her with everything. She thought of her grandfather. "Courage, Em, when your knees are knocking." "I'll do it," Emily said. Silas Vane's coin shop was a small, dark place that smelled of old metal and dust. Emily, her mother, and Mr. Pendleton were in the tiny back office. On the wall was a dark, square window. Mr. Pendleton touched a switch, and it lit up. It was a one-way mirror, looking out onto the shop. "He will not see us," Mr. Pendleton whispered. "Mr. Graves and his team are in the alley and across the street. He cannot escape." Emily's heart felt like a drum. She held her mother's hand. The bell on the front door chimed. A man in a dark baseball cap and sunglasses entered, carrying a silver briefcase. It was Mr. Thorne. He looked pale and nervous, his eyes darting everywhere. "Vane," he rasped. "Mr. T," the shop owner said. "The payment." "Show me the gold first," Thorne snapped. Mr. Vane brought out a heavy tray of dull gold coins. Thorne inspected one, then nodded. He put his silver briefcase on the glass counter. He clicked the latches. "He's opening it," Mr. Pendleton whispered. Thorne opened the lid. It was full of $100 bills, stacked in perfect bundles. "Emily," Pendleton said, his voice urgent. "Now, is it the real money?" Emily pressed her face to the glass. The light was dim. The stacks were perfect. The color looked right. I think so," she whispered. "It looks real." "You think so? Wait," Emily said. "Wait." Thorne was lifting a bundle to give to Vane. Emily saw it. "The bands," she whispered. "What?" "The paper bands," Emily said, her voice shaking but certain. "Around the money. They're bright white." Mr. Pendleton frowned. "White bands. The fake money," Emily said, her mind racing. "The money in the box." The bands were bright white, to look new. But real money. The bands on real bank bundles are yellowish. Or beige. not printer paper white. Mr. Pendleton stared at her. His eyes went wide with understanding. He pulled out his earpiece. Graves. He's not using the stolen cash. He's using more fakes. He was trying to buy the gold for nothing. Move, he yelled. Now. Take him. The shop door burst open. Mr. Graves and two men rushed in. Police. Don't move. Thorne screamed. It was a sound of pure panic. He slammed the briefcase shut and ran for the back door, but another agent was already there, blocking his path. Thorne was trapped. He skidded to a stop, his face a mask of terror. And then he saw it. The one-way mirror. He stared straight at it. He couldn't see them, but he knew. He knew he had been watched. His eyes, full of hate, seemed to lock right onto Emily's. In that one, final second, he understood. He had not been beaten by the billionaire. He had been beaten by the maid's daughter. He dropped the briefcase. The fake money spilled onto the dusty floor. That afternoon, back in the quiet penthouse, Mr. Pendleton was on the phone. Yes, Dr. Bishop, he was saying, the $2 million transfer is confirmed. Yes, you are very welcome. He paused, listening. Yes, I would also like to endow a new wing. A new pediatric cardiac unit. And I have the name. It will be the Sergeant Michael Iron Mike Vance Wing for Pediatric Care. Sarah, sitting on the sofa, put her hands over her mouth, tears streaming down her face. Emily stood beside her, putting an arm around her mother. Mr. Pendleton hung up and turned to them. Mr. Thorne was a thief for 10 years, he said, his voice quiet. He stole small amounts, replacing real cash with fakes. He thought he was smarter than everyone. He thought no one would ever look. He got greedy. He walked over to Emily. He thought no one was watching Emily. He forgot about the low-level people. The people who actually do the work. The people who fold the napkins. The people who touch the money. He looked at Sarah, then back at Emily. Your grandfather was right. Integrity is what you do when nobody is watching. But sometimes, Emily, someone is watching. Someone with honest eyes. He gave her a small, real smile. Your new life begins now. Your mother's job starts tomorrow. Your new school starts on Monday. This suite, it is your home now. Sir, Sarah said, standing up, wiping her eyes. I have no words. Thank you. Do not thank me, Mrs. Vance, Mr. Pendleton said. Just do your job with the same integrity your daughter showed me. That is all the thanks I require. He nodded at them both. Then he turned and left them alone in their new, vast, glittering home. Emily and Sarah stood at the window, side by side, looking down at the city. It was the same city, but everything was different. Emily thought about the money, the fake money, the real money. It had caused so much fear. But in the end, it had just been paper. The lie had been discovered, and the truth had been told. She realized, in that quiet moment, it wasn't the money that mattered. It was the people who knew the difference. And that's where we'll end the story for now. Whenever I share one of these, I hope it gives you a chance to step out of the everyday and just drift for a bit. I'd love to know what you were doing while listening. Maybe relaxing after work, on a late-night drive, or just winding down. Drop a line in the comments. I really do read them all. And if you want to make sure we cross paths again, hitting like and subscribing makes a huge difference. We are always trying to improve our stories, so feel free to also drop your feedback in the comment section below. Thanks for spending this time with me.